A lot of the students that we have, they don't even know what job opportunities are out there. So to start with like the circuit scribe drone, after we teach them about an electronic circuit, we actually take the kids and look at what electricians make in their area and say, listen, if you really like electronic circuitry, you may be a great electrician.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello, everyone. This is Randy Goers, and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 280. Can a STEAM-based education program empower youth to pursue a fulfilling career in the drone industry? Today's guest stakes his life on it. Jesse Pacheco is founder and CEO of Drone Forward, a nonprofit organization with the goal of solidifying the link between education and future jobs in the unmanned systems field. Drone Forward's mission is to strengthen the contributions of robotics and unmanned vehicle technologies to the U.S. economy. It does this by providing youth in diverse American communities with educational opportunities and experiences that lead to drone-related careers of the future. Over the course of his career, Jesse has designed and implemented comprehensive organizational structures to enrich the quality of client services in the companies he's worked. His dedication to creating and facilitating community activities for organizations has contributed to significant growth and client retention. In 2019, he founded Drone Forward as a way to advance STEAM principles through unmanned vehicles. In this edition of the Drone Radio Show, Jesse talks about Drone Forward, what makes this organization different from other STEAM programs, and he shares his excitement in introducing young adults to a variety of rewarding drone careers. But before we hear from Jesse, I want to thank those of you who are supporting my funding campaign. Whether it's $1, $100, or much more, you can help defray the cost of production and keep the podcast going and growing. Go to droneradioshow.com/donate. And by the way, if you have an idea for a great show and want to share your experience, please contact me at randy@droneradioshow.com. So let's learn how Drone Focus guides young adults to challenging careers in the drone industry. Let's pick up the interview where I asked Jesse to introduce himself.
So my name is Jesse Pacheco, and I'm the founder and CEO of Drone Forward, which is a nonprofit program that provides drone-related education to students that would otherwise be unable to experience drone-related education.
Jesse, where is Drone Forward located?
We're in Boston, but since COVID, we've actually deployed programming all over the country via the internet. And our last program, we actually had students all the way in Los Angeles, Virginia, Savannah, Georgia, all the way up through the coast.
How does Drone Forward actually work? Who are the kids that you're reaching?
Since we're fairly new, we've basically not pinpointed a lot of students in our target market, but our target market are really underprivileged and at-risk students that would come from families that would be below the poverty line. And one of the issues that we've had reaching those students is a lot of those people can't be hit with the same type of marketing materials that you would use, like social media and whatnot, because they don't have the cell phones and computers to access that kind of marketing. So we've had to go through some schools, and we have pulled some of our target market students. But this programming that we've deployed during COVID, we've had a lot of interest from homeschool families that we've connected with so that we could provide them with some of our lessons and have them be involved in our programs and projects. And we've also just taken students that currently during the summer have really nothing else to do. All their summer programs and camps that they would have done elsewise have been canceled. And this was a really great opportunity for them to do some really neat projects with us.
What makes Drone Forward different from other STEAM programs?
Because of our target market, which are kids that really get very few and far between opportunities, we have to pack as great a punch as we can with our materials. And I'll even go through our drone builders course, which I think is probably the best example. We use a drone building kit, which is developed by Electron Inc. called the Circuit Scribe Kit. And this is not like the coolest, hippest, and slickest drone out on the market. It's not like a Tello or a Mambo, which other programs use, but it teaches kids so much more. It teaches them about electronic circuitry. It teaches them about the aerodynamic design of the frame, because they actually get to redesign the frame for their drone. And along that, what we do is a lot of the students that we have, they don't even know what job opportunities are out there. So to start with, like the Circuit Scribe drone, after we teach them about an electronic circuit, we actually take the kids and look at what electricians make in their area and say, listen, if you really like electronic circuitry, you may be a great electrician. And they make between $60,000 and $80,000 a year, and it's a job that'll never become automated. So we plug in those parts of very viable career paths that these students would never even know exists, or how much person that does those jobs would make per year. And, that particular course, then we go on and teach them what a electronic engineer makes, all the way to somebody who does research and development for products. And in that course, they go all the way through and they build a drone, and they have to basically design for the purpose of carrying a payload with that drone kit. And then we have a big competition called the Heavy Lifters Competition. And whoever can carry as much pocket change with that drone, 50 feet, wins the Heavy Lifter Award. But we have to pack it with as much potential, and we call them appetizers, educational appetizers, to show these kids what's out in the world and what career paths will not only be viable, but can actually help change their whole trajectory. And it doesn't always have to be drone related. That's the beauty about drones. Drones are packed with so much technology that we can connect them to pretty much every viable occupation in the future is interlaced in drone technology.
Why do metrics play such a key role in your program?
One thing that we really noticed is nonprofits were taking large resources either from grants or donations, and they weren't really providing the people who were investing those resources with very viable metrics to show, this is how we took your money, here are the kids we impacted, and here are the levels. Like, let's just say in mathematics, we took a kid from the ability to just add to now they're doing basic algebra. And we have embedded within our program different analytical approaches so that we can show the people who are standing by our programs how their money is making drastic changes for our students. And I think that every nonprofit really needs to be held to that level, especially, in the day and age where we all have phones that are mini supercomputers, it's really easy to collect data. And I think that all nonprofits really should be held accountable to show that the programming they're doing is really working.
Are the classes in-person classes or online?
When we were starting out, we were really aiming at creating a week-long camp that we would park basically dead center in an area where we knew our target student populations were. And then COVID came around and we started just allowing anybody that wanted to go through our programs via the internet were able to join if we had the teaching capacity to let them do so.
And is there a set schedule for the classes?
Whatever program we're running, and it's all based on the talent. For example, this past program that we were running with Lightline, which is a company that presented a business problem to our students in our youth consulting program, that was all the perfect conglomeration of all the talent that was able and willing to be in that program and dedicate a month to that program. That's when we staged the program. So that's another thing we do. We don't have like a semester-based system. Basically, what we do is whoever is willing to be a part of the program, we begin to assemble that program, and then we market it, and we get our student base for the program, and then we deploy it, which also allows us to pivot and evolve as the students that come through our program ask for different things. We can then create subsequent programs to help them in their journey. So we're really an evolutionary education program instead of having this set A to B, B to C. And I think that's really necessary for any program like ours that really wants to serve their target market in the best way possible.
So what's happening now in terms of the classes that are offered?
So we just closed out our youth consulting program. And on August 3rd, we're kicking off our drone builders course where we use the Circuit Scribe drone, and we're going to do that for a week. And then after that, we're really going to gear up to do 2 programs fully online before our hope is Thanksgiving. And one of those is going to be a drone and robotics entrepreneurship course. So, a little bit about my background. I got my MBA at Babson, which is thought of as the #1 entrepreneurship school for business in the country. So I learned a lot about how an entrepreneur takes an idea and makes it a reality. And what we're basically going to do in the drone and robotics course is learn a lot of those same frameworks and have the kids come up with an idea that they think is a viable business opportunity in drones or robotics. And they're actually, from that point, going to go through the process of seeing, do they need to look at outside resources like venture capital to make that a reality? Or could they build that business from scratch on their own with just a little bit of intuition and a little bit of help from their family members, and really learn the process of what being an entrepreneur truly means. The other program that we're going to do, and we actually have help from a group in Atlanta who are going to be working with us on our metrics, is we're going to do the youth consulting program, which we just finished with one group called Lightline. And I can tell you a little bit more about that, but we're looking for another company to work with. And the youth consulting program, at its essence, puts kids in the driver's seat of like a business consultant. And the kids get to work as business consultants for a company on a real-time problem that a drone or robotics company is facing. And we show these kids different frameworks within business on how to work through those problems. Because the core component, and this is how we also are very different from other drone education programs, we don't only believe drones are a great way to teach kids vocational skills. We wholeheartedly believe that drones and drone businesses can be used to train the next great business minds of the future, and especially kids that would have never gotten the opportunity to do so before. So this youth consulting program really is a great way to show kids, what does somebody in marketing do? What does somebody in finance do? And we run them through a real-time business problem that a drone or robotics company is facing, and they have to solve that problem. So the youth consulting program and then the drone and robotics entrepreneurship program are the 2 that we've really set as our goal for deploying online before Thanksgiving.
How long do the courses typically run?
So our youth consulting program was a little short this past run that we did. We did a 2-week program, and it was amazing. What the kids did was literally mind-blowing. And they had 15-minute presentations with everything that they had learned. And we realized that we probably could have done that in a month-long format, and it would have only gotten better from week to week. It almost seemed like the first week of the Lightline Youth Consulting project that we just finished up, the kids found their rhythm and found their stride. And then in the second week, they were already having to create their PowerPoints, and they were building their prototypes and things like that. And it just wasn't enough time. So looking back at that, the youth consulting project that we do next will be a month long. And then the drone entrepreneurship, the drone and robotics entrepreneurship course would really be a 2 to 3 month long program so that they really get to go through the process. And as you and I know, like even make cold calls, that's hard for a kid, but calling people up that they've never met to see, I have this design, what would it cost to manufacture it? And those are skills that if a kid can begin to do that at an early age and not be afraid of doing those things, you're giving them immense capability in the future.
What can you tell us about the kids that take the courses?
We had a wonderful mix. And I'll just start with our spotlight student from the last program was this young lady who was 10 years old. She was from Savannah, Georgia. And what she wants to do when she grows up is be an influencer and run her own YouTube station. And the reason that she did the youth consulting program is that she knew she had to get better at hitting deadlines and delivering high quality product in the end because she'd failed in the past. And so this was almost, Chloe used the youth consulting program as like a boot camp to just learn how to deliver on an adult level. And so that's just one example. Another example is this other student, a 13-year-old from your neck of the woods, Florida, who is a tech junkie. And all he could think about was making the prototype for a COVID-19 disinfecting robot for Lightline. And he built this amazing prototype with even a UVC light inside of it. And that was his focus. And his dad said that he basically would wake up in the middle of the night and his son would be in his room at 3 a.m. building this prototype. And what he learned through the process in terms of research and development of a product was just fantastic. So we have a huge scope. And then we have some students that literally know that someday they want to be executives and they want to start learning how to lead teams now. And they really took advantage of the role to be able to lead the teams. We had teams everywhere from 2 students to 5 students, and they really led their peers through those projects. And it was just phenomenal. And some of them also just wanted to work on their presentation skills because at the end of the project, they had to present in front of not only the entrepreneur in residence at Harvard Business School, David Chang, but the CEO and executive of Lightline in this last project. And then we also bring in another CEO just so they feel that pressure. And some of them, it's just amazing. I think they do a better job than a lot of adults I've seen present in such a heavy audience. It's amazing.
You mentioned Lightline a couple of times. What's the connection with your curriculum?
So Lightline is a company in Boston that what they do is they have an autonomous package delivery robot for high-end apartment buildings. And Lightline was approached with the potential of retrofitting that product to actually become a COVID-19 disinfecting bot using UVC light. And they didn't know if it was a good business decision or not. And they knew of us because the CEO of that company is actually a graduate of Babson as well. And he knew of us and he knew of the youth consulting project that I was trying to build. And he said, I think that I have a really good business problem that I would love to see your students work on. And so we had the students basically start off and listen to him. And that's the other thing is consultants, sometimes the person you're working for doesn't even know what they want answered. And it was really neat to listen to the kids hear Brett, the CEO of Lightline, and after hearing him, they just said, he wants to know if this thing's going to make money. And I said, so simply put, so eloquent, and kids just hit the root. They're like, okay, we need to figure out if Lightline makes this robot, are they going to make money? And then we ran them through the whole process of looking at what the current competition for Lightline would be. And I got to tell you what, there are some amazing COVID-19 disinfecting robots out there, from China all the way to Denmark. And then there's some companies in the United States that are doing some amazing things. So Lightline was going to have heavy competition. And our students basically broke that up for them and really picked out where Lightline should aim for their target market, which is they picked the Northeast because the Northeast has been most proactive about safety protocols. And the students basically told Lightline they thought they should build the robot, price it at $20,000, and look at schools in New Jersey, Rhode Island, New York to start, and that they should build 100 of them. And once they sold out, do a huge marketing campaign and try and go national. And it was mind blowing to watch kids with such confidence at ages 10 to 14 do what I saw adults in business school struggle with. And the other component from the kids' standpoint is they said, this is going to affect us. You know, the schools have to be safe for us. So it's even more important to us. And the youngest, you know, that Chloe that I've mentioned several times, hit on the fact that, you know, the schools, kids can be asymptomatic. So if the schools aren't safe, you know, the kids may not have a problem, but they're just going to run out of the schools and take it home, you know, and that was the intuition of a child. And I hadn't thought of that, you know, and it just blew me away.
Do the kids benefit financially by helping the company to develop a new product or service?
So Lightline, if they would have pursued that, and this is the beauty of what we're trying to build in our program, and the kids in this were a little bit too young, but as we start getting kids that are 16, 17, and 18, Lightline would have given them internships. And the other good thing about this is all the students in the program can now say they were consultants on their resumes. So these projects become huge resume builders for them. And then the other thing is Lightline did make sure that there were people representing them, angel investors, that actually gave each kid a sum of money. So the kids, it was almost like a paid internship in itself, the 2 weeks. What Lightline did, and I think the individual wants to remain anonymous, but he donated $100 per student. So the students over that 2 weeks got a $100 paycheck. And then they also got to get paid drone kits to do the drone builders program with us. So there were some benefits, most definitely. And I think really the big one, and they may not see it, is that the resume builder. I know when I was applying for my undergrad degree, I didn't have a consulting job to put on my resume. So they're already way ahead of me.
Before the pandemic, were you already offering the courses online?
No, we had to make a huge pivot. We were building all our programming, and actually the game plan for us, you know, being up here in Boston, we were going to pay homage to our community. And there's a town in Rhode Island that's really struggled. It's called Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And what we were going to do is the Pawtucket Paw Sox, which is their minor league baseball team, were leaving. And nobody knew what was going to be done with the stadium. And we were actually raising funds to basically lease the stadium during a week in the summer. And we were going to provide an outdoor summer camp for all at-risk and underprivileged youth in that area. And we were going to do a bunch of different drone events just to get kids introduced to the promise of drones and drone-related fields. And then COVID hit, and I remember reaching out to the Paw Sox and asking, what do you think is going to be going on with the stadium? And that's when I knew this thing was so much more heavy. And they said, I don't think we're even going to have a season. And it was at that moment that I realized we needed to do something online, because the more research I did, camps were closing down quickly. So we made a huge 180 degree, and we just have embraced online education. And luckily enough, through my connections at Harvard, was provided with the technology to really not even have a financial barrier to being able to use Zoom and things like that to provide our students with a full online platform to do what we're doing.
So are you making plans to move exclusively to the online format?
So we have set our online materials as being something we will always do, but we have set a goal and a focus that by Christmas of 2021, we have a goal of making sure that we are at least doing some in-person programming for students, because I think it is so important. And it needs to be done in some way, shape, or form. But for us, with as little resources as we have, we can't waste any funds on something that won't work or won't keep kids safe. And we really believe that by next summer, people will have figured out how to really do this and do this well. And that we will hopefully, I say Christmas of 2021 is the very latest for us doing it in person. So we're really hoping by next summer we have at least 2 events that we're offering for kids to come in person.
Is there a cost to the students?
So as of now, we have been extremely blessed with very generous donors in terms of all the students having the costs covered for them. And I hope that continue. And, the lucky thing is we have some people that are really brilliant business minds on this team who really have figured out how we can do this without using monetary resources. And we've had extremely generous individuals with their time. I don't, one of the courses, and I haven't mentioned it yet, though, that we're really looking at deploying in the future is a drone photography course for kids that are interested in drone photography. And there is a wonderful person, Nicole Abbott. I think Nicole. I think she's been on your program, who is going to design that course with us and is looking forward to teaching it. And she isn't going to charge a dime to do it. She just wants to see kids that love photography and want to try and do so with drones be taught what they need to really be successful. Another individual that we're going to do a similar program is Jorg Boomba, who I don't know if you know about the Red Bull DR1 race event, but he designed that race course. And Jorg has been on our team and hasn't charged us a dime. And he's going to do basically kind of a mentor class to teach kids how you design a drone race course. So we can't say enough how grateful we are to very talented individuals who bought into our program and want to be a part of it and really help kids that would never have these opportunities.
Is this an opportunity for other people in the industry to develop a curriculum and help young adults?
Most definitely. Most definitely. And I only see us going towards that very, in a way, I hope, and I hope I don't get sued for saying the word masterclass, but in a way, anybody who is a master in their field of drone knowledge, we would love to create a personal curriculum where they can help empower young individuals within their own area of expertise.
Did we miss anything that we should talk about?
The only thing I can think of is not only talented individuals doing that kind of programming like Nicole, but any companies that are in drones or robotics that have a business problem that they would love to see used in our youth consulting program. We love to have applicants for that. And that has no cost associated with it whatsoever. It's just a company in these fields of drones that has a problem. And if you want some fresh eyes on it, and I'll tell you what, like I said about Lightline, kids view what we would consider difficult business problems with such an exquisite and graceful lens. It is sometimes amazing that what they're able to come up with. So any drone-related business with a business problem they would like to see used as a centerpiece for our youth consulting program would be a fantastic connection for us.
What do you feel are the key factors behind the company's success?
It goes back to we don't really have anybody on our team that thinks this is going to be our big money-making gold rush. Nobody's counting on this business, Drone Forward, as their big financial windfall. Everybody is just putting in efforts because they have really good hearts and they want to see kids become empowered through the industry. That's projected us so much further than other companies that I kind of watch as our competition, who are always trying to figure out how to charge a little bit more for their drone STEM education programs, or, add something else to create another revenue stream. And we just have people who really love drones and see how they could empower kids and don't really want to make money off this. They find a different sort of internal value, which is what we look for in our partners, and that has propelled us so much further than I could ever even really explain.
What has this experience taught you?
What this experience has taught me, like I didn't expect it, because the reason I got into drones, I actually had an entrepreneurial idea of my own, and I went to this big convention, the UAV convention in Las Vegas, and I almost just viewed drones as these toys. And what I ended up realizing, and I think it goes back to something I said, is drones literally pack the entire technological punch that is going to lead us into the future. And when I finally realized what they represented in terms of technology and really the culmination of all the most viable parts of technology, I realized just how important they were to taking us into a future where I think we can achieve a lot of the sustainability goals that we hope to achieve. We can also empower a lot of people who never would have had a chance before with a lot of the way in other industries had gone. I never would have guessed that this vehicle would have been such a beacon of light. And I've learned it, and every day we create more programming around this little flying machine. I just realized just how much of a beacon of light they truly are.
And for my final question, Jesse, what message would you like to leave regarding the opportunity that Drone Forward provides?
Drone Forward is really this gateway into a very new industry that offers a chance for all people of color, people from different backgrounds. Drone Forward really is allowing people to get the smorgasbord of wonderful skills that the drone industry presents and utilize or understand how they can utilize those skills to make their future so much more rewarding and find career paths that they get joy out of and find sustainable and that won't be automated and go away. We're really using these drones as catalysts that help propel people in career paths that they will always find fulfilling.
That's it for episode 280 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Jesse Pacheco of Drone Forward. I want to thank Jesse for taking the time to speak with me. If you want to learn more about Drone Forward or want to connect with Jesse, check out the webpage at droneforwardinc.com. If you like the Drone Radio Show, please consider supporting the podcast with a small donation. The content is always free, but for as little as $1, you can help defray the cost of production. To donate, go to droneradioshow.com/donate. And thanks for listening. Your support means a lot to me, and I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Goers.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.